Greetings. My name is Ahimsa Timoteo Bodhran. I want to begin by giving thanks to the people of this land. It's good to be here in Crow and surrounding Cheyenne and Lakota territory. May your sovereignty flourish. The video I'm going to be showing today is called Emissaries from the Arab World, Envision, a queer trans-Arab multiverse. It's an art video that I created weaving both my writing, which is poetic prose, as well as my photography. And the photography combines both unaltered nighttime photos in the first half of the video that morphs then more into digitally manipulated images. And this was created for So the Darkness May Glitter, Queer Trans Arab Futures, a screening that was curated by queer Palestinian writer, librarian, organizer, and curator Janine Moghanem for the Queer Cultural Center's National Queer Arts Festival in 2021. It's a 9-minute video, and it imagines, so much of my work is critical, so to actually get commissioned to do a positive piece, to imagine a bright future. So it imagines a positive intergalactic queer trans Arab future. And yeah, thank you.
Emissaries from the Arab world envision a queer trans Arab multiverse. 1. Continually folding, expanding, we tesseract, we multiply and permutate. There are floodings of fluids. The way gas expands, we ignite. We are plasma of blood pulsing and stars igniting themselves in night sky. Our darkness is infinite. We are matter and energy immeasurable by white standards. There are new observatories for us to see ourselves. We look backwards and forwards in space-time. We are new astronomers reshaping astrolabes to chart ancient seas. How deep our water is, salty, brackish, fresh, chlorine. We are all the elements on the chart tessellating, periods pulsing, becoming semicolons, slipping into commas, convulsing into ellipses. So many ovular orbits we synchronize. Our syntax shakes systems, supernovae. There are nuclear reactions, fission and fusion, stray electrons, neutrinos shooting through planets, across galaxies, gravitons. I am seeking you, soulmate, across echoes, black holes, ejecta. Perhaps in this galaxy or universe you are not, but you are traversing planes to reach me. I wait for you in the future and in the past. There is such a presence here. I feel you across nebulae, arteries red-shifting the blueprints of our alveoli, re-oxygenated galactic filaments, plural walls, souls supercluster around each other beyond binary. We circle each other's paths. So many comets entering and leaving our systems, burning and icing cycles, venting and sealing intrastellar seed vaults. Some trace memory of what we were that we might become again. Such cosmic dust and ash, vestigial, swirling. 2. All these stars are ours, so named, as if we belong to them. Familial, as if our destinies are already consecrated, constellated, in the systems we visited before we came here, before we, many-vesseled, birthed from waters, primordial, pre- and post-human, these humidities, these wetnesses within and between our flesh, our desires ever darkening, illuminating infinite, our skins radiantly reflective of rainbows our irises can't register yet, so ultraviolet, infrared, heat and hearing, scored and searing, micro and radio waved, X and gamma rayed, our genders galloping, unbound, recombinant, glistening in our resurgent tetrachromacies. I want to feel you fully unbridled in all my matrilineal senses, the scent of you, your lightning, lingering after storm, taste and touch thunderclap, my body recovering. Hold me holding you upright, rebalance my proprioception, echolocate these emissions. Nocturnal, the electricity between us lights up the dark. Static, somatic, we see each other in glimpses, know each other through brief embraces, trace back in blood all that we were before. 3. Our peoples everywhere are Arabness in all peoples, our world a cosmos, most of us knowing our sacred geometries, how we tensile textured fit, tectonic tantalize, geodesic each sphere ensconced within another, our deep down cores pulsing, metallic, liquid, sublimating with callous satisfaction, such succulent subduction zones, mantles of muddled masculinity and femininity writhing, rolling over each other, proof all things melt in queer desire. That proximal magmatic, red-black, crisp crucibled, glowing, bioluminescent, our internal and external navigations, limitless, fractal, frenetic, deca-hectokilo, mega-giga-tera, peta-exa-zeta, yada, deci-centi-milli, micro-nano-pico, femto-atto-zepto, yocto, gracious grams of gratitude, luscious liters leaking, muscled meters massaged, sultry seconds sucked, radiance of appreciative apertures agape, dilated degrees push past absolute zero towards absolute heat, jewels jangling in our celestial crowns. How immense, how infinitesimal. We exist within each other, engulf. We intersect at right angles, acutely flex, canine clench and feline stretch, scissor flakes of folded paper burnt to bone, snow misting into flame. Hexagonal, octahedral, our inner chambers and outdoor cathedrals, interfaith congregant full, walls of stone a-sweat, concentric and interlocking, grinding, re-rendered tumbler smooth, slurried, rippling, voraciously veined, arboreal arabesque, vines of verdant vestiture and lace, hollowed hearth, breath upon breath between species, conversant in cubics we grid, four-dimensional, form heavenly configurations, murmurations of symbiosis, each swirl and dot, wave and particle, quantum these calligraphied skins shed and rebed, bred, quills quivering re-inked, re-welled, rethinked, cartographies of cursives relinked, elementary these educations, ancient untaught discursives, now subversive, rescript, every ursine sleeper cell awoken, each exonymed expletive re and declaimed, reenacted, counteracted, teleplayed in radio waves, only now reaching us. Every system pre and post this one of writing, speaking, glyphs that glottal, trilled tongues, never stop, hieroglyph and cuneiform, alphabet and abugida, abjad and syllabary, logographies, multilabial, this tongue lapping, committing cellular to memory, mitochondrial, miraculously multiple and mutant, pendulous sways, forests of cherry stems, multi-generational, migratory, our ululation, uvula in perpetual motion, our fingers a blur of hummingbird wings, whipping a whistle register. 4. Centuries from now, millennia, indigo and golden houred, meteor showered, we will be gathering cedar, beating shells, plaiting sweetgrass, tying tobacco, chipping obsidian, smithing silver. None of this is new, us being on each other's shores, beneath dual moons, in each other's bloodlines, our tongues twinned in each other's mouths, fingers 6 or more and laced, Across many terrains, we will carry this message. We have always been travelers. We have always left sand in each other's jeans.
So thank you for that question. I really appreciate it. And it's really lovely being here in this library. Libraries kept me alive growing up. They're such an important resource. So please support this and the library system in this county. For me, like, I'm gonna come at the question a little sideways, but still answer it. So I'm a heart failure survivor, and this was commissioned before I even knew that I was experiencing heart failure. And the kindness of the curator who kept on extending the deadline for me to still be part of this project. And then basically, this was completed in the 3 days after I emerged from the hospital, this entire project, the writing of it, and then the layering of the images, including creation of some of those images. So for me, both imagining the future in terms of this intergalactic, many-centuried kind of future where Arabness is mixed into all peoples in the universe, just like all the other parts of our heritages will probably be mixed in multiple centuries from all the continents. And also to be thinking about gender and sexuality in positive, fluid ways. So for me, the text came first. So I developed the text. It's a 4-part piece, and the poetic prose of that came together in 2 days from scratch as I emerged from the hospital. And then from there, I then looked at what were the images I had and then saw how they might line up. Both the unaltered nighttime images of fire, of pine forests, of the initial red images are from, I'm from New York City, are from the Hudson River as it's emptying into the Atlantic on the West Side Highway piers of New York City, which are both a site of intense Native history over the centuries, as well as a place where queer trans people gathered, particularly homeless populations, youth populations, particularly during much more highly criminalized decades in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And so those images, I just sort of felt, whether it was on an aesthetic level, an emotional level, a larger visual arc or narrative arc, just seemed to fit. So that's the way in which it was made. Yeah.
Beautiful, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Yeah.
So what's your opinion on whether or not time exists?
I think time definitely exists, and I think it is evidenced everywhere. It's evidenced in the geostrata of the beautiful landscapes around us and the way it buckles and reveals itself, whether through highway cut-throughs to things we unearth all the time, whether they're from this soil or a meteorite that has traveled across the solar system. So I think it's both in the physical bedrock of everything that we do and the chronodating of this piece of paper to plastic to metals to what's in our body. We're literally made, as people stereotypically say, of stardust. So I think it definitely exists, and I think what I'm interested in about time is not just that it's linear, but that it circles back and that our experience of it, whether it's memories that lead to other memories, like in this part of the country with Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota folk, the winter counts that have existed on the teepees, you know, and the winter counts that existed and still exist, that an image would be chosen for each year within that indigenous community to activate the memory of that year. And then there would be a series of images across decades or centuries that would then act as a way to go back to 1848, to 1876. So I think there are these ways that we reinvoke memory in different ways. Yeah, so in terms of time, I think it's there. And I think, to use a fancy word, it's curvy linear, which I didn't understand until I saw someone pointing out beadwork and saying, yes, the beads are in a spiral on their way out. So it's both a line that's spiraling around. So in that way, you can trace it in a linear way, but also each of those like inner spirals as they move out are next to each other. So literally the bead from 10 minutes ago in terms of beading, or if we think about our memories, if it's a spiral, they're both happening chronologically, but they're also right next to each other. And I think that's sometimes how we experience time. Thank you.